The room went silent, eyes widened, and gasps echoed as Jackie dropped a revelation that absolutely no one saw coming. In the middle of what was supposed to be just another heated discussion, Jackie leaned forward, smirked, and unleashed a truth so wild it had fans clutching their screens. She claimed that both Evelyn and Brandi, two women who have never exactly been the best of friends, were secretly entangled with the same mysterious man. Imagine the chaos. One side of the room stunned into disbelief. The other side trying to piece together the puzzle of who this man could possibly be. Was he someone from their past? A hidden lover no one dared to mention? Or maybe someone so close to the group that the betrayal would cut deeper than anyone could imagine? Evelyn's jaw clenched. Bry's face flushed and whispers filled the air as everyone waited for the first explosion. The audience at home was just as shaken, flooding social media with theories, memes, and accusations before the dust even began to settle. And right there, under the glaring lights and live cameras, a scandal was born. One that threatened to tear friendships apart, ignite old rivalries, and leave everyone questioning just how much they really knew about each other. As the cameras kept rolling and the tension grew heavier, it became clear that Jackie hadn't just tossed out a casual remark. She knew exactly what she was doing. She had waited for the perfect moment when everyone was already on edge. Throw a spark into the room that could easily ignite a firestorm. Her voice was calm but deliberate, each word dripping with intent. As she hinted at a secret that had been bubbling beneath the surface for months, viewers could feel the atmosphere shift instantly. Evelyn leaned back in her chair, her lips pressed tightly together, as if she was desperately trying to hold back the storm rising inside her. Brandi, on the other hand, looked confused at first, then suddenly defensive. Her eyes darted toward Jackie, then toward the others, as though she was searching for someone to deny the claim on her behalf. But nobody said a word. That silence said more than words ever could. People watching from home started typing furiously on social media, their feeds filling with speculation. Who was this man? How could Evelyn and Brandi, two women so different with such a long and complicated history and uptied to the same person? Some fans joked that it had to be a setup, while others were convinced this was the most authentic moment of raw reality the show had ever delivered. Jackie didn't stop there. She leaned in closer, eyes narrowing, not at a single chilling phrase. "It's closer than you think." That one line sent chills across the room and across living rooms everywhere. It wasn't just about a nameless outsider. It sounded like the man in question might have connections right within their own circle. Chantel, who had been quiet until that point, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She wasn't directly involved, but she knew the weight of secrets all too well. Her face gave away a mix of curiosity and dread, as if she was bracing herself for whatever name might come next. The cameras caught every flicker of emotion. And the audience ate it up. Social media threads exploded with theories. Some pointed fingers at old flames. Others suspected business partners, while a few wild takes even dragged in family members. The mystery only deepened the drama. Evelyn finally broke her silence, her voice low but sharp. "Jackie, if you've got something to say, then say it. Don't play games with my name." Her tone was a mix of anger and warning, like she was daring Jackie to cross a line she couldn't step back from. Brandi quickly jumped in, her tone defensive yet shaky. "Yeah, because whatever story you're trying to spin, it's not true. You're always trying to stir up mess that ain't even real." But the more they pushed back, the more fans noticed the cracks in their reactions. If there was really no truth, why did both women seem so rattled? Why couldn't they brush it off and move on? Jackie smirked as if she had already won. She didn't need to reveal a name just yet. The damage was already done. The room was filled with suspicion, doubt, and questions no one was ready to answer. Doug, who had been sitting off to the side, shifted uneasily. While he wasn't directly called out, his connection to Jackie and the group made the situation even more complicated. People wondered if he knew more than he was letting on, or if he was just as blindsided as everyone else as the camera zoomed in on the women's faces. The emotions were raw and unfiltered. Evelyn's pride was on the line. She had built an image of strength, resilience, and no-nonsense attitude. Being linked to some secret man, especially the same one as Brandi, wasn't just about personal embarrassment. It was about reputation. Brandi, meanwhile, carried her own stakes. She had fought hard to rebuild her image after past conflicts, and now it felt like the ground was slipping beneath her feet again. The idea that she might unknowingly share ties with Evelyn through a hidden relationship made her furious and humiliated all at once. The whispers among the other women only added fuel to the fire. Every sideways glance, every raised eyebrow became part of the narrative. Fans dissected the footage frame by frame, convinced that someone in the room already knew the truth and was hiding it. And then came the first real explosion. Evelyn slammed her hand on the table, startling everyone. "You are not about to sit here and try to drag me into your lies." She snapped at Jackie, her voice rising. "If you think you're going to disrespect me like that on live TV, you've lost your mind." Brandi immediately chimed in, her frustration boiling over. "Exactly. This is ridiculous. If you've got proof, show it. Otherwise, shut it down." But Jackie wasn't backing down. Her smirk widened and she calmly replied, "Funny how defensive y'all are getting for something that's supposedly not true." That single line sent the room into chaos. Evelyn and Brandi both started talking over each other, their voices clashing while the rest of the women struggled to intervene. Fans watching from home could barely keep up with the shouting. But one thing was clear, the tension was real, and it wasn't going away anytime soon. The producers couldn't have scripted it better. As the scene unfolded, the emotional stakes became crystal clear. For Evelyn, it was about control. She refused to let anyone tarnish her name or paint her as vulnerable. For Brandi, it was about survival. She had already faced her share of public humiliation, and she wasn't about to let another rumor take her down. For Jackie, it was about power. She thrived on being the one to drop the bombs, to force the truth into the light, no matter how messy it got. And for the audience, it was pure addictive drama behind the scenes. Cameras caught snippets of whispered conversations. Chantel leaned toward another castmate and whispered, "If this is true, it's going to break everything apart." Her words hung heavy. Reflection of what fans already knew. This wasn't just a rumor. It was a ticking time bomb that could reshape the entire group dynamic. Social media was ablaze with hashtags or memes and live reactions. Some viewers picked sides immediately defending their favorite between Evelyn and Brandi, while others were more intrigued by Jackie's mysterious confidence. The question on everyone's mind remained the same. Who was this secret man? And why had his name caused such an eruption? As the dust settled from the first round of shouting, the women sat in uneasy silence. It was clear the story wasn't over. Too many emotions had been stirred. Too many questions left unanswered. And the scariest part, Jackie still hadn't revealed the name. The silence in the room was almost unbearable, broken only by the sound of nervous laughter from one of the women trying to lighten the mood. But there was no lightening this moment. The weight of Jackie's words pressed down like a storm cloud, and everyone knew that the thunder hadn't even struck yet. Brandi leaned back, arms crossed tightly over her chest, her expression a mix of anger and fear. It was the kind of look that said she wasn't sure if she wanted to scream, cry, or both. Her voice shook slightly as she muttered, "I can't believe we're even entertaining this. It's pathetic." But Evelyn wasn't letting it slide. She leaned forward, eyes locked on Jackie, and snapped, "You've got one chance to clear this up. Say his name right here, right now." The tension spiked instantly. Everyone shifted forward in their seats as if the name was about to drop like a hammer. Fans watching at home were glued to their screens, some literally holding their breath. The anticipation was unbearable. But Jackie, in true Jackie fashion, took her time. She adjusted her hair. The room erupted. Voices overlapped as the women tried to make sense of it all. Evelyn finally slammed her fist on the table, her voice booming over the chaos. "You're lying. You are lying straight to my face. I don't know what game you're playing, but you're not about to drag me into some fake story about Marcus." Bry's reaction, however, was far less certain. She shifted uncomfortably in her seat, her eyes darting away as she fidgeted with her hands. Fans watching noticed it instantly. Social media lit up with comments like, "Why does Brandi look guilty?" And that face says it all. Jackie smirked, clearly enjoying the unraveling. "See, that's the thing. I don't need to make this up because the truth has a way of coming out all by itself." Brandi finally snapped, her voice rising as she shouted across the table, "You don't know what you're talking about. Marcus is none of your business, and you need to keep my name out of your mouth." The outburst only fueled the speculation. If there was nothing to hide, why was Brandi so defensive? Why did her words sound less like denial and more like desperation? Evelyn, meanwhile, was seething. She turned to Brandi with a glare that could cut glass. "Are you serious right now? Tell me she's lying. Tell me this is a joke." Brandi hesitated for a moment, too long, and that pause was all it took. The room collectively gasped. Evelyn stood up, pushing her chair back so hard it nearly toppled over. "I knew it," she shouted, her voice trembling with rage. "I knew something was off." "And you?" She pointed directly at Brandi. You've been smiling in my face this whole time. The confrontation spiraled quickly. Brandi stood up too, her hands flailing as she tried to defend herself. Don't twist this around, Evelyn. You don't know the whole story. You don't know what really happened. But Evelyn wasn't hearing it. She stormed across the room, her voice echoing. You slept with him, didn't you? Admit it. Admit you went behind my back. The producers rushed in trying to calm things down, but the damage was already done. Fans at home couldn't believe what they were seeing. This wasn't just a petty argument. This was betrayal. Live and unfiltered. Jackie, still seated, watched it all unfold with a smug expression. She had dropped her bomb, and now she was watching the fallout with satisfaction. Funny how the truth always brings out the real colors, she muttered loud enough for the cameras to catch it. Hell, who had been silent through most of the chaos, finally spoke up. This is insane. Y'all are about to tear each other apart over a man who's been playing both sides. Why are you letting him win? Her words made sense. But in that moment, reason had no place. Emotions had taken full control. The argument continued, voices overlapping, accusations flying. Evelyn accused Brandi of betrayal. Brandi accused Jackie of stirring up lies. Jackie insisted she was only exposing the truth. It was a carousel of chaos, and the audience was glued to every second. Social media timelines exploded with hashtags, memes, and live reactions. Hashtag Marcus trended within minutes. Fans argued back and forth, some siding with Evelyn, others with Brandi, and plenty cheering on Jackie for creating the ultimate reality TV moment. But behind the spectacle, the pain was real. Evelyn's anger came from a place of deep hurt. Bry's defensiveness hinted at guilt mixed with fear. And Jackie's boldness revealed just how much she thrived on being the instigator, the one who controlled the narrative. The cameras captured every tear, every shout, every moment of silence that spoke louder than words. The group was fractured, and it felt like nothing would ever be the same again. Yet the most shocking part was that Marcus himself hadn't even entered the scene. His name alone had detonated the room like dynamite, and fans couldn't help but wonder what would happen when he finally did do 4. Now the women were left to pick up the pieces of the bombshell Jackie had just unleashed, and the world was left watching, waiting for the next explosion. The atmosphere after the explosion of names was electric, almost suffocating. Evelyn paced back and forth like a caged lion, her heels striking the floor with sharp echoes. Brandi sat down again, but her hands wouldn't stay still, fiddling with anything she could reach as though her nerves were betraying her. Jackie leaned back, arms folded with the smug calm of someone who knew she had just shifted the entire landscape. The room was filled with whispers, murmurs from the crew, and faint gasps every time Evelyn raised her voice again. She finally stopped pacing, turned toward Brandi, and said in a tone that was quieter but far more dangerous, "Tell me the truth, or I swear I'll walk out of here and never look back." Bry's lips parted, but no words came. Her silence dragged on, the seconds stretching painfully long. Fans later said it felt like hours watching her search for something to say, and then finally she whispered, "It wasn't supposed to happen." The room froze. Evelyn's jaw clenched, her face a storm of emotions she could barely contain. "Wasn't supposed to happen?" she repeated, her voice cracking with disbelief. "So it did happen. You really went there." Tears welled in Bry's eyes. "I didn't plan it. Swear." One thing led to another, and it just happened. Those words set Evelyn off. She screamed, her voice raw with fury. "You've ruined everything? You smiled in my face, called me your sister, and you were sneaking around behind my back." Jackie interjected with a low chuckle. "See, this is why I said it. Because lies only last so long before they rot from the inside." Brandi turned on Jackie, rage flashing through her tears. "Don't act like you're some hero. You don't care about me or Evelyn or anyone. You just wanted to see us fall apart." Jackie raised her eyebrows unbothered. "Maybe. Or maybe I just wanted the truth out. Either way, here we are." Meanwhile, fans at home flooded timelines with reactions. Some wrote, "Bri finally admitted it," while others were defending her, saying, "She's human. She made a mistake." Others, of course, dragged Jackie, calling her the ultimate puppet master. The emotional toll on Evelyn, however, was undeniable. She sat down abruptly, burying her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook as sobs broke free. The kind of raw pain that even reality TV couldn't fake. Her friends moved closer, trying to comfort her, but she pushed them away. "Don't touch me," she muttered. "I can't trust anyone right now." The group dynamic shifted entirely. Some of the women sided with Evelyn, outraged on her behalf. Others quietly sympathized with Brandi, recognizing the complexity of human mistakes. But everyone agreed on one thing. Marcus was at the center of it all. And then, as if the producers had planned the perfect dramatic beat, Marcus himself appeared. He walked into the room, his presence commanding immediate attention. The women turned toward him like moths to a flame, some with anger, others with desperation for answers. "What's going on in here?" Marcus asked, his tone casual, almost dismissive, as though he hadn't just caused a firestorm by existing. Evelyn shot to her feet, fury igniting again. "Don't play dumb with me. Did you sleep with her? Answer me, Marcus." He paused, eyes shifting between Evelyn and Brandi. The silence was deafening, the camera zooming in on every twitch of his expression. Finally, he sighed and muttered, "It's not that simple." The women erupted. Jackie laughed, clapping her hands. "Oh, this is better than I imagined." Evelyn screamed again, her voice echoing through the room. "Not that simple. You either did or you didn't. Stop trying to twist it." Brandi spoke up, her voice trembling. "Marcus, please just tell her. Don't make this worse." He rubbed his forehead, clearly cornered. "Fine. Yes, I was with both of you, but it wasn't about love. It wasn't about choosing one over the other. It just happened." The reaction was chaos. Evelyn nearly collapsed back into her chair, her face pale with shock. Brandi covered her mouth with her hands, fresh tears streaming down her face. Fans online went wild. Hashtags like #OtterSameGuy and #MyBetrayal trended instantly. Jackie leaned forward, her grin wider than ever. And there it is, straight from the source. Both the slam of the door echoed through the room, leaving Brandi sobbing, Marcus speechless, and Jackie smiling like the chaos was her crown. The divide was complete, the damage irreversible, and yet everyone watching knew the storm was far from over. The door slammed behind Evelyn, and the silence that followed was so heavy it felt like the air itself had been sucked out of the room. Bry's sobs filled the space, raw and broken, echoing against the walls like a haunting soundtrack to the night's chaos. Marcus stood frozen, his jaw tight, his eyes darting nervously between the cameras and the women, caught between regret and arrogance. Jackie, meanwhile, leaned back in her chair like a queen who had just watched her empire erupt in flames. Satisfied with the destruction she had orchestrated, no one spoke at first. The tension was unbearable, thick like smoke after an explosion. One of the women finally whispered, "This is too much." Someone should check on Evelyn, but nobody moved right away. Paralyzed by the sheer weight of what had just unfolded before their eyes, Brandi finally wiped her tears with trembling hands. Her voice cracked, but there was steel behind it. "Marcus, you need to leave. You've caused enough damage tonight." Marcus shifted uncomfortably, trying to maintain control. "Brandi, come on. You knew what this was. Don't act like I tricked you into anything." The audacity of his words sparked outrage. "Stop!" Brandi snapped, her voice shaking with both fury and pain. "Don't you dare stand there and act like you're the victim. You played me. You played Evelyn, and now you're standing here like you don't even care what you've done to us." The crowd of women murmured, nodding, some shaking their heads at Marcus's arrogance. Jackie smirked, her voice dripping with satisfaction as she poured salt into the wound. Finally, someone said it. "But let's be real, he's not the only guilty one here." Brandi whipped around to face her, eyes blazing. "You wanted this. You wanted us broken. And now you've got it. Are you happy?" Jackie shrugged, completely unbothered. "Happy? No. Entertained? Absolutely. But let's not twist things. I didn't make you sleep with him. I just told the truth. If the truth hurts, that's on you." Her words sliced through Brandi, who collapsed back into her chair, overwhelmed and shattered. The camera zoomed in mercilessly on her tear-streaked face, capturing every trembling breath, every flicker of heartbreak. Dot. Outside, Evelyn sat alone on the steps. The night air cooled against her tear-soaked skin. Her phone buzzed. Non-stop calls, texts, notifications from fans and family. The whole world had witnessed her heartbreak, and everyone had an opinion. She shook her head, whispering to herself, "I should have known. I should have seen it coming." But knowing didn't soften the pain. Betray, she realized, cuts deepest when it comes from the ones you love most inside. Marcus finally made a move toward the door, his confidence slipping. "Fine, I'll go," he muttered. "But don't put this all on me. You all made your choices." He walked out, leaving behind a room filled with broken friendships and shattered trust. As soon as he was gone, Brandi crumbled completely, sobbing into her hands. One of the women tried to console her, but she pushed them away. "Don't, please just don't. I don't deserve it." Jackie, however, wasn't finished. She leaned forward, eyes glittering. "You're right. You don't deserve it. You hurt someone who trusted you, and no amount of crying is going to change that." "Enough, Jackie," another woman snapped, finally fed up. "You've done enough tonight. Maybe you should sit this one out." For the first time, Jackie's smirk faltered, but only for a second. "Don't shoot the messenger," she muttered, folding her arms as if she had done nothing wrong. The division in the room was undeniable. Some of the women gathered near Brandi, torn between anger and sympathy, while others sat back, disgusted at the entire situation. The fractures between them seemed irreparable. The trust they once shared obliterated in the span of a single evening. And then, shh, just when it seemed like the night was over, Evelyn returned. Her eyes were red, her cheeks still strewn with tears, but her posture was steady. Her energy different, no longer broken but fierce. She walked back into the room, every step commanding silence. She stopped in front of Brandi, her presence both heartbreaking and intimidating. "You are supposed to be my sister," she said, her voice low but sharp. "And you broke me. But I won't let you destroy me." Bry's lips trembled as she tried to speak. "Evelyn, please. I'm so sorry." "Don't." Evelyn cut her off instantly, her tone cold. "Sorry doesn't erase betrayal. Sorry doesn't undo what you did. The confrontation was brutal, raw, and almost too painful to watch." But Evelyn wasn't finished. She turned directly to the cameras, her voice rising, every syllable heavy with emotion. "Let the world see this. Let them see what betrayal looks like, because I'm done pretending everything is fine." The room froze. Even Jackie, for all her sharpness, had nothing to say in that moment. The cameras captured every second, every trembling expression. Fans watching live flooded social media with shock. "This is the most explosive scene ever. Evelyn looking straight into the camera gave me chills. And Brandi is done after this." Brandi buried her face in her hands. Knowing Evelyn's words had sealed her fate. No matter what apology she offered, the public had already made up its mind. Jackie, of course, couldn't resist one last jab. She leaned back, a sly grin creeping across her lips. Well, if nothing else, this will go down in reality TV history. The aftermath spiraled quickly. Producers rushed in trying to calm tensions, but the damage was irreparable. Some of the women argued over whose side to take. Others stayed silent, stunned by the gravity of the betrayal. As the night dragged on, each woman retreated into her own thoughts. Evelyn sat quietly, her resolve solidifying like stone. Brandi sobbed in isolation, realizing the enormity of what she had lost. Jackie basked in the chaos, her role as instigator cemented. And Marcus, he had vanished into the night, silence fueling even more speculation. By the time the camera stopped rolling, one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. The women had once been bound by loyalty and friendship, but now they were bound by scandal, betrayal, and the shadow of a man whose name would linger like a curse. And as fans continued to dissect every second online, the big question remained, was this the tragic end of their bond or the beginning of an even darker, more chaotic chapter? As the dust settles on this explosive night, one thing is undeniable. Jackie's bombshell has changed everything. Evelyn and Brandi, once standing side by side, are now standing worlds apart, tied to the same man in the most shocking way imaginable. The betrayal cut deep, the emotions ran high, and the family that once felt unshakable was left broken in front of millions of watching eyes. Fans are still reeling, debating who was truly to blame. Was Marcus the master manipulator who played both women at once? Or was Jackie the puppet master pulling strings and exposing truths for the sake of chaos? And what about Brandi? Was she just another victim of deceit? Or did she willingly step into the fire knowing she could get burned? Evelyn's fiery words staring straight into the cameras will be replayed for years to come. That raw, unfiltered pain, that moment of strength in the middle of heartbreak, it will go down in reality TV history. But as unforgettable as that moment was, it leaves us all wondering, can any of these relationships ever be repaired?